It was built in a secret Silicon Valley office with funding from the world's most powerful spies, and it now quietly runs the world. A nation reels, a tragedy unfolds, and a single, haunting question emerges from the smoke. How did no one connect the dots? The pieces were there, scattered across endless databases in different agencies. The picture was lost in the noise. This is the origin story of a company you've probably never Googled, but you've almost certainly been impacted by it. They don't make the devices in your pocket. They built the all-seeing digital eye that governments and corporations use to watch the world. Meet Alex Karp and his team of philosopher programmers. In the wake of the attacks, they had a radical, unsettling idea. What if you could treat the world's data like a crime scene? Every passport scan, every wire transfer, every flight manifest. What if a machine could spot the hidden pattern, the invisible link, the terrorist before he ever steps on a plane? This wasn't a government project. It was a Silicon Valley startup with a very unique backer. Their first major investor wasn't a traditional venture capital firm. It was a shadowy investment arm of the Central Intelligence Agency. That's right, the CIA funded a tech company. The goal was to build a system that could do what human analysts, drowning in paperwork, simply could not: see everything. They called their creation Gotham. Early versions were clumsy, a sledgehammer to crack a walnut, but the belief was absolute. They were chasing a principle, that code could prevent catastrophe. Inside their offices, secrecy wasn't a policy, it was a culture. This wasn't Google's colorful campus, it was a digital fortress, and Karp was its enigmatic guardian, preaching an ethical mission to provide understanding, not just surveillance. The first real test came in the deserts of Iraq and Afghanistan. The military was swamped, bombs were going off, and intelligence was trapped in 10,000 different reports. They needed a single, clear picture. They got Gotham. This was the moment the software came alive. It fused bomb data, cell tower logs, and satellite imagery into one interactive map. You could see the entire network, the bomb maker, the financier, the courier. For the first time, soldiers weren't just reacting, they were predicting. The tool built to find a terrorist was now saving lives on the ground. Quote, "It wasn't just a map of the past, it was a blueprint of the future." But this new power created an immediate problem. While troops on the front lines demanded it, the old guard in Washington wanted nothing to do with this Silicon Valley outsider. They had their own contractors, their own closed club. So the company did something utterly unprecedented for a tech startup. They sued the United States Department of Defense, and they won. A federal judge agreed the process was broken. The message was sent. The game had changed. With its foothold secure in the world of spies and soldiers, the mission began to evolve. What else could this digital crystal ball see? Immigration agencies signed up. Homeland Security became a client. The same algorithms that tracked insurgent networks abroad began scanning for patterns within U.S. borders. A rented truck near a certain address could now recommend for detention. The line between national security and domestic surveillance was blurring in real time. Some engineers who joined to hunt terrorists grew uneasy. Were they now being used to track families? Internal dissent leaked out, but outside the walls, the contracts only grew. The company was transforming. It was no longer just a tool for the battlefield. It was becoming the operating system for the modern state, and it was just getting started. The next frontier wasn't a war zone, it was the boardroom. The company launched Foundry, a polished version of its powerful core for corporate America. Forget government red tape, CEOs could write checks fast. Suddenly, oil companies used it to find drill sites, pharmaceutical giants used it to streamline drug trials, hedge funds used it to outpace the market.
The pitch was simple: replace gut instinct with data-driven certainty. Foundry didn't just show you information, it gave you orders. Shut down that factory, reroute that shipment. It was decision-making, automated. And when a global pandemic hit, this same system was tasked with tracking outbreaks, managing vaccine supplies, and predicting where hospitals would be overwhelmed. A private company's black box algorithm was guiding critical national responses. The question became, who was really in charge? By the 2020s, this quiet project had woven itself into the fabric of global power. Its initial public offering was as unconventional as the firm itself, a silent, direct listing with little fanfare. The financials were puzzling to Wall Street, yet everyone wanted in. Why? Because they weren't just buying software, they were buying a mythos, a slice of invisible influence. Quote, "It was the world's most powerful tool that nobody fully understood." When war erupted in Ukraine, the company was there instantly, not with soldiers, but with servers. Its AI analyzed satellite feeds, mapped supply lines in real time, and suggested artillery targets. It called this AI-powered combat. The era of algorithm-driven warfare had arrived. But with scale came scrutiny. Privacy activists labeled it a digital war profiteer. Critics asked terrifying questions. What happens when a biased dataset becomes a predictive policing algorithm? What are the ethics of a single, unaccountable platform guiding both corporate strategy and national security? The company's defense was a familiar tech mantra: we just build the tool. How it's used is not our responsibility. Today, the journey that began with preventing terror attacks has reached a dizzying zenith. Governments use it to simulate economic crises. Corporations use it to model the future of entire industries. It calls itself the meta-constellation, a system designed not just to see the world, but to shape it. It built the ultimate lens to find a needle in a haystack, but in doing so, it built the haystack itself, populated with the data of billions. It promised safety, but traded in a new kind of power: quiet, pervasive, and profoundly difficult to question. The story that started with a vow to stop the unthinkable has become the architecture of a new, digitally managed reality. If you found this deep dive into the invisible engines of power fascinating, do us a huge favor and like this video. It truly helps our channel, Crayon Capital, grow. And hit subscribe for more investigations into the companies and technologies that are quietly reshaping our world.